There is a secret hidden in the ordinary moments of a life. It is not a secret kept by powerful men in marble halls, nor is it written on a scroll, locked away in a guarded library. It is a quiet truth, a piece of understanding that waits patiently in the simplest of things. It sleeps in the cold air of a room just before dawn. It waits in the taste of water, in the feel of a worn stone beneath a sandal. Today, you and I will look for this secret together. We will not hunt for it. We will simply walk through a single day in the life of a boy named Lucius, and we will watch for it. He does not know we are watching. He does not know the secret himself, but his day is a map. And somewhere on that map is a treasure of deep, peaceful understanding. We will follow him from his first breath in the morning darkness to his last sigh in the night. And perhaps, as he goes about his simple tasks, this hidden truth will show itself to us as this journey begins. If you wish to share this calm with others, a gentle press of the like button is all that is needed. To continue these explorations, feel free to subscribe. There is no bell to ring, only peace to be found. Now, let us find our way into the quiet. The air in the room is cold. It is a deep, still cold that has settled in the hours of the night. It is not an angry cold, but a heavy, silent presence. It fills the small room, touching everything. It rests on the wooden bed frame, on the wool blanket, and on the stone floor. This cold is the first thing that Lucius feels. It is not a shock, but a gradual awareness, a slow return from the world of dreams. He is not awake yet, not truly. He is floating in the space between sleep and knowing. His breath is a small, warm cloud in the chill. He can feel the blanket, a rough but familiar weight upon him. It is made of undyed wool, and he can feel the texture of each thread, even through his light sleep tunic. The blanket holds a little of his own warmth, a small pocket of comfort in the vast cold of the room. Outside the small, high window, there is no light. The city of Rome is still a creature of the night, a sprawling giant deep in slumber. The stars are still visible, cold and distant points of silver in a black sky. But a change is coming. It is not something you can see, not yet. It is a feeling in the air, a subtle shift in the quality of the silence. The deepest part of the night has passed. Lucius turns a slow and heavy movement under the blanket. The straw mattress beneath him rustles with a dry, soft sound. It is a sound he has known his entire life. The mattress is filled with clean straw, changed with the seasons. It has a faint, sweet smell, the smell of fields and sun, a memory of summer held captive through the cool winter. His body is warm, a living furnace in the chilly room. He drifts. His mind is not yet filled with thoughts of the day to come. It is not yet concerned with lessons, with teachers, with the busy streets. His mind is a calm, dark pool. Memories of dreams ripple on its surface. Images of flying over rooftops, of talking to animals, of strange and wonderful things that make no sense in the waking world. These images fade like smoke, leaving behind only a feeling of peace. The house is quiet. It is a large house, a domus, with many rooms surrounding a central courtyard. But at this hour, it is as silent as a tomb. He cannot hear his father or his mother. He cannot hear his older sister. He cannot hear the servants who sleep in their own small quarters. The only sound is the sound of his own slow breathing, in and out, a steady rhythm in the deep silence. He feels the slow, steady beat of his own heart, a quiet drum marking the passage of time. The cold air touches his face, his nose, the skin around his eyes. It is a clean and pure feeling. He is close to the edge of waking now. A single, distant sound finds its way to his ears. It is the sound of a cart, its wooden wheels groaning against the stone street somewhere far away. It is a lonely sound, the first sign of the city beginning to stir from its sleep. The cart is likely carrying produce to the market, fresh vegetables from the farms outside the city walls. The sound is slow, ponderous, and then it is gone. Silence returns. But it is a different kind of silence now. It is a silence that is aware that it will soon be broken. Lucius feels this change. His body knows it is time to begin the process of waking. His toes wiggle under the blanket. His fingers curl and uncurl. A long, slow stretch travels through his body, from his feet up to his shoulders. It is a pleasant feeling, a gentle waking of the muscles. He opens his eyes. The room is not completely dark. A very faint grey light filters through the high window. It is not yet the light of the sun. It is the light of the sky itself, beginning to turn from black to a deep, deep blue. This first light does not illuminate. It only separates shapes from the darkness. He can see the dark rectangle of the doorway. He can see the heavy shape of the wooden chest where his clothes are kept. He can see the simple lines of the small stool beside his bed. These shapes are familiar, comforting. They are the geography of his small world. He knows them not just with his eyes, but with his memory. He could walk around this room in total darkness and not stumble. He lies still for a few more moments, gathering his will. The warmth of the bed is a powerful anchor. It holds him, whispers to him to stay, to drift back into the soft comfort of sleep. But another call is stronger. It is the call of the day. It is the call of routine, of the life that is waiting for him. He knows what will happen today. The shape of the day is as familiar to him as the shape of his room. He will get up, he will wash, he will eat a small piece of bread. He will walk to school with his pedagogues, his tutor slave. He will practice his letters and his numbers. He will return home. He will eat, play, and then sleep again. It is the same shape as yesterday and the day before. And yet, within this shape, there are always small differences, small moments of surprise. A new word learned, a friendly face in the street, the taste of a fresh fig. It is these small things that make each day new, and it is the search for that quiet, hidden truth that gives our journey with him its purpose. It is somewhere in that routine. It is waiting. He takes a deep breath, filling his lungs with the cold, clean air. He is ready. He pushes the heavy wool blanket aside, and the full cold of the room rushes to meet him. The moment the blanket is gone, the cold is no longer a gentle presence. It is a sharp, immediate reality. It covers his skin, raising small bumps on his arms and legs. He sits up on the edge of the bed, his bare feet touching the floor. The floor is made of smooth, grey stone, and it is colder than the air. It feels like stepping into a shallow, icy stream. He keeps his feet on the floor, allowing the cold to travel up through his body, a signal to every part of him that the time for sleep is over. The room, his cubiculum, is small and simple. This is not a room for living in. It is a room for sleeping. The walls are covered in plain plaster, painted a deep, earthy red. In the faint light, the color is muted, looking almost brown. There are no decorations on the walls, no paintings or mosaics. His life is not one of great luxury. His father is a merchant, a man of some means, but their home is practical, not opulent. The simplicity of the room is calming. There is nothing here to distract the mind. There is only the bed, the chest, the stool, and the boy. He can feel the texture of the stone floor under his feet, not just its coldness. It is mostly smooth, worn down by years of use, but there are small imperfections, tiny ridges and dips that his feet know by heart. He looks around the room, his eyes now fully adjusted to the dimness. The bed he just left is a simple wooden frame with leather straps pulled tight across it to support the straw mattress. It is sturdy, built to last. Beside the bed is the small, three-legged stool. On it sits a single object, a small clay lamp. It is a simple, pear-shaped lamp with a hole for oil and a spout for a wick. The wick is dark and stiff. The lamp is cold. It has not been lit since the night before. There is a faint, oily smell in the air around it, the ghost of last night's flame. Lucius does not light the lamp now. The morning light, faint as it is, will be enough. He prefers the soft, grey dimness to the flickering, yellow light of the lamp. The dawn feels more real, more honest. He stands up, his sleep tunic hanging loosely around him. It is a simple garment of thin, undyed linen, reaching to his knees. He has slept in it, and it is creased and warm from his body. It offers little protection against the chill. He feels the air move against his skin as he stands. There is a slight draft coming from under the door, a reminder that the house is a living thing, breathing in the cold morning air. His destination is the wooden chest that stands against the far wall. It is dark and heavy, made of a deep brown wood. It is bound with strips of iron to give it strength. This chest holds all his worldly possessions. It is his wardrobe and his treasure box. He walks the few steps across the cold stone floor. His movements are quiet, practiced. He has done this every morning for years. He lifts the heavy lid of the chest. It does not creak. His father keeps the hinges well oiled. The inside of the chest smells of dried herbs. His mother places small linen bags of lavender and rosemary among the clothes to keep them fresh and to ward off moths. It is a clean, pleasant smell, a scent of home and care. He reaches inside, his hands searching in the darkness. He does not need to see. His fingers know the feel of each garment. He finds what he is looking for. His daily tunic. It is made of wool, much thicker and warmer than his sleeping tunic. The wool is not soft and fine. It is the wool of a working garment, slightly rough to the touch, but durable and warm. It is a deep red color, the color of dried blood or rich earth. He pulls it out of the chest. The fabric is cool. Having absorbed the cold of the room through the night, he pulls his thin sleep tunic over his head, and for a moment he stands naked in the cold air. The chill is intense, a sharp shock to his system, but it lasts only for a second. He quickly pulls the wool tunic over his head. The garment falls into place, its familiar weight settling on his shoulders. The rough texture of the wool against his skin is a strange comfort. It is real, solid. The tunic is a simple, sleeveless garment, sewn together at the sides and shoulders, with an opening for his head. He then reaches back into the chest to find his belt. The belt is a long strip of leather, dark and well-worn. It is not for decoration. It is a necessary tool. He wraps the belt twice around his waist, over the tunic, and pulls it tight. This gathers the fabric, giving the tunic some shape and keeping it from getting in the way. He ties the belt with a simple, secure knot. The belt also serves to hold a small leather pouch, but he will not need that until later. Finally, he reaches into the bottom of the chest and pulls out his sandals. They are simple leather sandals, consisting of a thick, sturdy sole and a series of straps. The leather is stiff from the cold. He sits on the edge of his bed to put them on. He slides his foot onto the sole and begins to thread the leather straps, pulling them between his toes and around his ankle, tying them securely. The process takes a minute. He does it with practiced ease, his fingers moving surely in the dim light. The sandals feel cold and hard against his feet, but he knows they will warm up as he walks. They will protect his feet from the rough stones of the city streets. Now he is dressed. He is ready to leave the small world of his room and enter the larger world of the house. He stands up and walks to the door. The door is made of heavy wood and has a simple bronze handle. He pulls the handle and the door swings inward without a sound. He steps out of his cubiculum and into the covered walkway of the atrium, the central hall of the house. The air here is even colder. The atrium is open to the sky in the center, and the cold morning air pours down into the heart of the home. The day has truly begun. The atrium is a large, open space, and at this hour it feels vast and empty. The faint light from the sky above filters down through the compluvium, the square opening in the roof. This light does not reach the corners of the great room, which remain cloaked in deep shadow. In the center of the atrium, directly beneath the opening, is the impluvium, a shallow rectangular pool sunk into the floor. This pool is designed to catch rainwater. The water in it this morning is still and dark, a perfect glassy reflection of the pale grey sky above. The air smells of damp stone and cold water. It is a clean, elemental smell. The floor of the atrium is made of simple mosaic tiles, small squares of black and white stone arranged in a geometric pattern. The pattern is familiar, a map he has walked 1,000 times. His sandals make a soft, slapping sound on the tiles, a small noise in the great silence of the house. He walks along the covered portico that runs around the atrium. The pillars that hold up the roof are dark, silent sentinels in the gloom. He passes the closed doors of other rooms. His parents' room, his sister's room, the triclinium, the dining room, where they will eat their meals later, all are silent. It feels as if he is the only person awake in the entire world. His destination is a small basin tucked into a corner of the atrium, near the entrance to the kitchen. It is a simple stone bowl, fed by a lead pipe that brings water from the city's aqueduct. This is a sign of his family's relative prosperity. Many families in Rome have to fetch their water from a public fountain. Having running water inside the house is a great convenience. A steady, thin trickle of water flows from a small bronze spout shaped like a lion's head, falling into the basin with a quiet, constant splashing sound. This small sound is the only movement in the stillness of the atrium. The water is achingly cold. It has traveled a long way from the distant springs, flowing through miles of stone channels, and it has lost any warmth it might have had. It is as cold as the morning air, as cold as the stone floor. Lucius steps up to the basin. He cups his hands together under the spout and lets the cold water fill them. The shock of the water on his hands is intense. It feels like holding a handful of melting snow. He does not hesitate. He brings his cupped hands to his face and splashes the water onto his skin. The cold is a sudden, sharp explosion. It chastens away the last lingering threads of sleep. His eyes snap wide open, his skin tingles. He gasps, breathing in the cold air. He does this again and again, splashing the icy water over his face, his neck, his arms. This is his morning ritual. It is not just about getting clean. It is about waking up. It is a deliberate act of will, a choice to embrace the day, to face its challenges head-on. The water runs down his arms, dripping from his elbows onto the stone floor. It trickles down his neck, under the collar of his tunic, a cold path against his warm skin. He rubs his hands over his face, scrubbing at his eyes, his cheeks, his chin. He feels more awake, more alive than he has all morning. His mind is clear now, sharp and focused. The dreamy softness of his bed is a distant memory. He feels the blood rushing to the surface of his skin, a warm flush that fights against the cold. He scoops up one last handful of water and brings it to his mouth. He rinses his mouth, swishing the cold liquid around, and then spits it out into the basin. The water tastes clean, with a faint, metallic temps from the lead pipes. He uses a small, rough linen cloth that hangs on a hook next to the basin to dry his face and hands. The cloth is damp and cold, but it does a good job of wiping away the excess water. His skin feels tight and fresh. He stands for a moment by the basin, listening to the gentle splash of the water. The sky, seen through the opening in the roof, is a little brighter now. It is no longer a dark grey, but a soft, pale blue, like a washed-out piece of linen. The edges of the opening are sharp and clear against the brightening sky. The world is slowly, steadily waking up. From the direction of the kitchen, he hears a sound. A soft scraping noise, then the sound of a heavy door bolt being drawn. One of the household slaves is beginning their work for the day. Soon the house will be filled with the sounds of life, the chopping of vegetables, the grinding of grain, the murmur of conversation. But for now, in this brief, quiet moment, the house still belongs to the silence. Lucius feels a sense of peace in this moment. It is a clean, simple feeling. His body is awake. His mind is clear. He is ready for what comes next. He is a small part of a large, sleeping city, but he is awake and aware. He feels the cold stone beneath his sandals, hears the steady splash of water, sees the pale light growing in the sky. These simple sensations are the foundation of his day. They are real, they are solid, they are true. In this moment, he is not thinking about the secret we are searching for. He is just a boy, standing in the cold, feeling the water on his skin. And yet, maybe this is a piece of it. The simple act of being present, of feeling the world as it is, without judgment, without expectation. Maybe the secret is not a thing to be found, but a way of being. We will continue to watch. We will continue to wait. The day is still young, and the journey has just begun. He turns from the basin and walks toward the kitchen, his steps sure and steady on the cold mosaic floor. The doorway to the kitchen is a simple, unadorned opening in the wall. As Lucius steps through it, the air changes. The cold, damp air of the atrium gives way to something different. It is still cool in the kitchen, but there is a hint of warmth, a lingering memory of the previous day's cooking fires. The air also carries a different set of smells. The clean scent of stone and water is replaced by the smells of food and work. The faint sour smell of baking bread, the earthy aroma of dried herbs and garlic hanging in bunches from the ceiling, the smoky scent of the hearth. The kitchen is a large, practical room. The floor is made of packed earth, which is easier to clean than stone. The walls are dark with soot near the ceiling. In the center of the room is a large, raised brick hearth where most of the cooking is done. The fire is not lit yet. The hearth is a black, empty square filled with grey ash. Beside the hearth is a domed clay oven, also cold and silent. Along one wall are rough wooden tables where food is prepared. On the tables are clay pots and bowls, bronze pans, and simple iron knives. This is the domain of the household's cook, a slave from Gaul who is a master of simple, hearty food. The cook is already here. Her name is Lyra. She is a stout, middle-aged woman with strong arms and a kind face. She is moving quietly in the dim light, her bare feet making no sound on the earthen floor. She looks up as Lucius enters and gives him a small, sleepy smile. She does not speak. Mornings are a time for quiet work. Lucius knows the routine. He walks over to one of the tables where a large, round loaf of bread sits on a wooden platter. This is yesterday's bread, baked in the late afternoon. It is a dark, heavy bread, made from whole grain flour. It is not light and airy. It is substantial food, meant to give energy for the day. Beside the platter is a jug of water. Lyra has already used a knife to cut a thick slice of bread for him. It is waiting. This is his breakfast, his yentaculum. It is the same every morning. He picks up the slice of bread. It is cool to the touch and feels heavy in his hand. The crust is thick and hard. He can see the coarse texture of the grain. He breaks a piece off. It takes some effort. The bread is dense and chewy. He puts the piece in his mouth. The taste is simple and good. It is nutty and slightly sour, the taste of pure, honest grain. He chews it slowly, thoughtfully. This is not a meal to be rushed. It is a moment to take in sustenance, to prepare the body for the work ahead. He does not sit down. He stands by the table, eating his bread and watching Lyra work. She is taking a small hand mill from a shelf. It consists of two round, flat stones, one on top of the other. She pours a scoop of wheat grains into a hole in the top stone. Then she takes the wooden handle and begins to turn it. The top stone grinds against the bottom stone with a rough, scraping sound. A fine, pale flour begins to pour out from between the stones onto a clean cloth she has spread below. It is a slow, laborious process. This is the first task of her day, grinding the flour for today's bread. The sound of the grinding mill is a rhythmic, meditative sound. Scrape, turn, scrape, turn. It is a sound of effort, of transformation. Hard grains are being turned into soft flour. It is a kind of magic. Lucius watches her strong arms move, her body swaying in a steady rhythm with the turning of the stone. She has been doing this every morning for as long as he can remember. Her movements are efficient, economical. There is no wasted energy. There is a quiet dignity in her work. He takes another bite of his bread. He thinks about the grain. He has seen the fields outside the city, vast seas of green in the spring, golden and heavy in the summer. He has seen the farmers harvesting the wheat, cutting it with sickles, bundling it into sheaves. He has seen the oxen treading on the threshing floors to separate the grain from the stalk. He has seen the heavy sacks of grain being brought into the city on groaning carts. And now he sees Lyra turning that grain into flour, which was used to make the very bread he is eating. He is connected to all of it. To the sun, the rain, the earth, the farmer, the ox, the baker. This simple piece of bread holds a long story. He finishes his piece of bread. He is not full, but he is no longer hungry. This meal is not meant to be heavy. It is just enough to quiet the stomach and provide a bit of energy. He picks up the clay jug of water. It is heavy. He pours some water into a simple clay cup. The water is cool and clear. He drinks it. It has the same clean, metallic taste as the water from the basin in the atrium. It washes down the dry bread and feels refreshing. He drinks the whole cup, then sets it back down on the table. His simple meal is finished. He gives Lyra another small nod, a silent thank you, and she nods back, never pausing in her work. The grinding sound continues its steady rhythm. Scrape, turn, Lucius turns and leaves the kitchen, stepping back out into the covered walkway of the atrium. The light has grown stronger now. The sky visible through the compluvium is a bright, clear blue. The sun is not yet up, but its light is filling the sky, chasing away the last of the night's shadows. The atrium is no longer a place of deep gloom. It is filled with a cool, indirect light. The black and white mosaics of the floor are now clear and sharp. He can see the painted dolphins on the walls of the dining room, their colors still muted in the morning light. The house is beginning to wake up. He can hear the distant sound of his father coughing in his room. He can hear the soft footsteps of another slave crossing the peristyle, the garden courtyard at the back of the house. The day is taking hold. He feels the energy from the bread spreading through his body, a small, steady warmth. He is ready for the next part of his morning, the journey to school. He walks towards the fauces, the main entrance hall of the house, where he knows his companion will be waiting. The journey awaits. At the entrance of the house, in the narrow hallway known as the fauces, a man is waiting. He is not a young man. His hair is grey, and his face is lined with the map of a long and difficult life. He is tall and thin, with a stoop in his shoulders that speaks of years of servitude. This is Tito's. He is a slave, but he is also much more. He is Lucius's pedagogist. His role is to be Lucius's guardian, his tutor, his protector. He accompanies Lucius everywhere he goes, outside the home. He is responsible for his safety, his behavior, and for reinforcing the lessons he learns at school. Tito's was captured in a war in Greece many years ago. He is an educated man. In his former life, he was a teacher himself. Now he belongs to Lucius's father. He holds a lantern in one hand. It is a simple bronze lantern with thin sheets of horn covering the sides instead of glass. The horn softens the light, giving it a warm yellow glow. Inside, a small oil flame flickers, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Even though the sky is brightening, the streets will still be dark and full of shadows. The lantern is a small bubble of safety in the uncertain light of dawn. Tito's is wearing a simple dark tunic, the common dress of a slave. He looks at Lucius and gives a solemn nod. He does not smile often, but there is a deep well of kindness in his eyes. Lucius knows the look. It is time to go. The great wooden door to the house is already unbarred. Another slave, the doorkeeper, pulls it open. The sounds of the city rush in. It is not a loud sound yet. Not the deafening roar it will become later in the day. It is a collection of smaller sounds. The distant clatter of hooves on stone. The cry of a vendor selling hot porridge. The murmur of a few early risers talking in a nearby doorway. The air that flows in is cold and carries the smells of the city, wood smoke from cooking fires, the sharp smell of animals, the faint, unpleasant odor of sewage that lingers in the gutters. It is the smell of 1,000,000 people living closely together. Lucius steps out into the street, with Tito's right behind him. The doorkeeper closes the heavy door, and the sound of the bolt sliding into place echoes behind them. They are now in the world. The street outside their domus is narrow. The buildings on either side are tall, 3 or 4 stories high, and they lean in towards each other, blocking much of the light from the sky. Down here, at the bottom of the canyon of buildings, it is still quite dark. The lantern, held by Tito's, is a welcome comfort. It casts a moving circle of light on the uneven flagstones of the street. They begin to walk. Tito's takes the lead, holding the lantern high. Lucius follows close behind him. Their pace is steady and purposeful. They are not strolling. The school is some distance away, in a different part of the city. The streets are not crowded yet. They pass a few other people, shadows that emerge from the gloom and then disappear back into it. A baker's slave, his face and arms white with flour, hurries by with a basket of hot bread on his head. 2 city watchmen, bundled in cloaks against the chill, walk past, their heavy boots echoing on the stones. A stray dog, thin and wary, watches them from a dark alleyway, its eyes glowing in the lantern light. They turn a corner onto a wider street. Here there is more activity. A fountain at the center of a small square is already a hub of life. Women and slaves are gathered there, filling large clay jars with water. Their voices are a low hum of gossip and morning greetings. The splash of the water from the fountain is a constant, pleasant sound. Lucius watches them as he walks by. He sees the effort it takes to lift the heavy, water-filled jars. He feels a small sense of gratitude for the running water in his own home. He knows he is fortunate. Tito's guides him through the streets with a quiet confidence. He knows this city as well as anyone. He points out things to Lucius as they walk. He does not speak in long sentences, but in short, quiet observations. See, Lucius, the masons are already at work on that new temple. They start before the sun is fully risen. Lucius looks and sees the scaffolding against a massive marble building. and the small figures of men moving about on it. That smell is from the fullery, Tito's says, pointing to a doorway from which steam is rising. They are cleaning wool cloth. Lucius wrinkles his nose. The smell from the fullery is sharp and unpleasant. They walk past the open doors of shops that are just beginning their day. A blacksmith's hammer rings out, a sharp metallic clang that cuts through the morning air. The fire in his forge glows a fierce orange, a beautiful and frightening sight in the dimness. A butcher is hanging fresh cuts of meat on hooks, his tunic already stained with blood. The sights and sounds and smells of the city are a powerful lesson in themselves. This is the real world, the world of work, of commerce, of survival. His school is a protected, artificial place compared to this. The walk to school is as much a part of his education as the lessons he will receive there. The sun is beginning to rise now. The first direct rays of light strike the tops of the tallest buildings, turning the stone from grey to a warm golden pink. The light slowly creeps down the walls, chasing the shadows into the alleyways. The sky above is a brilliant, cloudless blue. The air feels a little warmer. Tito's extinguishes the flame in his lantern. It is no longer needed. The city is bathed in the clean, fresh light of a new day. More people are in the streets now. The low hum of activity is growing into a steady roar. Carts rattle by, their drivers shouting at their mules. Senators in their bright white togas, followed by a train of clients, walk with an air of importance. Children run and shout, playing a game with nuts in a doorway. The city is coming alive, and Lucius is a part of it, a single drop of water in a great, flowing river. He feels a sense of excitement, of belonging. He is a boy of Rome, and this vast, noisy, beautiful, and dirty city is his home. Tito's places a steadying hand on his shoulder as they prepare to cross a busy intersection. The old Greek's touch is a reminder that even in this great crowd, he is not alone. He is cared for, he is protected. They reach the other side of the street and turn down a quieter lane. The school is not far now. The first part of his day, the journey, is almost over. The next part, the work, is about to begin. The school is not a grand building. It is not a place of marble columns or manicured gardens. In fact, it is not a building at all in the way Lucius's home is a building. The school is simply a rented room, a small shop front on a quiet side street. It has a wide opening onto the street, which can be closed at night with heavy wooden shutters, but which is now open to the morning air. There is no door. The school is just a small, covered space, a porch or a lean-to, separated from the noise of the street by a heavy curtain. This is the school of the literator, the first level of Roman education. Here, young boys learn the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Tito's pulls back the thick wool curtain, and they step inside. The air in the room is cool, and smells of dust, old wood, and the faint, smoky scent of oil lamps. There are no windows. The only light comes from the wide opening to the street, and from a couple of sputtering lamps that hang from the ceiling, casting a dim, flickering light on the scene. The room is small and crowded. About a dozen other boys are already there, all around Lucius's age, from 6 to 11 years old. They are sitting on simple, backless wooden stools, arranged in rough rows. They are all boys. Girls of Lucius's social class might receive some education, but they are taught at home by tutors. School is a world of boys. The boys are dressed in simple tunics, much like Lucius's. Some look tired. Others are whispering and fidgeting, full of a restless energy that the early hour cannot contain. There are no desks. Each boy holds a set of wax tablets on his lap. The sound of their low chatter is a constant buzz in the room. At the front of the room, on a slightly raised platform, sits the teacher, the magaset. He sits on a proper chair with a back, a cathedra, which marks his position of authority. His name is Demetrios. Like Titos, he is a Greek, a freedman who earns a meager living by teaching the sons of merchants and craftsmen. He is a stern-looking man with a trimmed grey beard and intelligent, tired eyes. He holds a long, thin stick in his hand, a reeler. This is not just for pointing. It is a tool of discipline, and the boys are all very aware of its presence. Demetrios looks up as Lucius and Titos enter. He gives a sharp nod of acknowledgement. Titos bows his head slightly in respect and then retreats to a corner of the room, where he will stand for the duration of the lesson. He is not just a chaperone. He is also here to observe, to listen, to make sure Lucius understands the lessons, and to help him with his homework later. Lucius finds an empty stool and sits down. He pulls his own set of tablets from a leather bag he has been carrying. The tablets are too small, rectangular pieces of wood, hinged together like a book. The inside of each piece of wood has been hollowed out and filled with a layer of dark, soft wax. This is his notebook. This is his slate. This is where he will do all his work. He also takes out his stylus, a thin, pointed tool made of iron. One end is sharp, for writing in the wax. The other end is flat and wide, for smoothing the wax over to erase mistakes. It is a simple but effective system. The tablets can be used again and again. Demetrios claps his hands together sharply. The sound cracks through the room like a whip, and the boys' chatter immediately ceases. All eyes turn to the front. The lesson is about to begin. Today, Demetrios says, his voice loud and clear, carrying easily to the back of the small room. We will continue our work on the letters. We must master them. The letters are the building blocks of our world. Without them, there is no law, no poetry, no history. They are the keys to everything. He stands up and walks to a large wooden board that is propped up against the wall. With a piece of charcoal, he draws a large, perfect letter A. Alpha, he says, using the Greek name, say it. A chorus of young voices, some enthusiastic, some mumbled, repeats the word Alpha. He then draws a B. Beta. The boys repeat. Beta. He goes on like this through the entire alphabet. He draws each letter with slow, careful strokes, explaining the correct way to form it. The line must be straight, not curved. The circle must be closed, not open. His voice is a steady drone, a familiar sound that fills their mornings. For Lucius, this is easy. He knows his letters well. He has practiced them hundreds of times. But for some of the younger boys, it is still a struggle. He sees one small boy near him, his tongue sticking out of the corner of his mouth in concentration as he tries to scratch a letter onto his wax tablet with his stylus. After they have reviewed the letters, Demetrios moves on to the next step, syllables. He writes bar on the board. Bar, he says. Bar. The boys chant back. B, by. The rhythm is hypnotic. Bar, B, by, bo, boo, ko, ce, ci, ko, cu. It is a form of drill, of pure memorization. The goal is not to understand, not yet. The goal is to make the sounds and the shapes automatic. Lucius finds his mind wandering. He looks out through the curtain into the street. He can see people passing by, their feet and the hems of their tunics visible under the curtain. He hears the sounds of the city, a constant, changing symphony. A dog barks, a woman laughs, a merchant shouts, advertising his wares. It is so much more interesting than the endless chanting of syllables. He feels a tap on his shoulder. He looks up. Demetrios is standing over him, his face stern. Lucius, the teacher says, his voice low but firm. Your mind is on the street. It should be here. Your father does not pay me, so you can watch the world go by. Lucius feels a hot flush of embarrassment. He looks down at his empty wax tablet. My apologies, Magister, he mumbles. Demetrios just stares at him for a long moment, then moves back to the front of the room without another word. The threat of the ferula is unspoken, but it is there. Lucius picks up his stylus. He focuses. He will not make that mistake again. The morning is long, and the lessons have only just begun. The chanting of syllables finally comes to an end. Demetrios erases the board with a rag and turns back to the class. The air in the small room is getting warmer, thicker. The sun is higher in the sky, and even though the room is in shadow, the heat of the day is beginning to build. The smell of the oil lamps, the dust, and the sweat of a dozen young boys is becoming stronger. Now, Demetrios announces, you will write. Practice is the only path to skill. I want you to write the alphabet. 10 times. I want to see perfect letters. Each line straight. Each curve smooth. No sloppy work. He picks up his ferula and begins to walk slowly between the rows of stools. A predator patrolling his territory. A hush falls over the room. The only sound is the soft, rhythmic scratching of styluses on wax. It is a quiet, focused sound, like the whispering of many small insects. Lucius looks down at his own tablet. The dark wax is a smooth, blank slate, a field of possibility. He holds his iron stylus in his hand. It has a good weight to it. It feels solid, real. The pointed end is sharp enough to make a clear mark, but not so sharp that it will cut through the wax to the wood below. He positions the point at the top left corner of the tablet. He takes a breath. He begins to write. He starts with the letter A. He carves the 2 slanting lines, then the crossbar. He tries to make them perfectly straight. As Demetrios instructed, the stylus glides through the wax with a soft, satisfying whisper. A thin curl of wax is pushed up along the edge of the line he carves. The letter appears on the dark surface, a pale yellowish line against the black. He moves on to B. This one is harder. It has curves. He makes the straight vertical line first, then the 2 curved bowls. His first attempt is a little clumsy. The top bowl is smaller than the bottom one. It looks unbalanced. He frowns. He turns the stylus around in his hand and uses the flat, spatula-like end. He presses it onto the wax and smooths the imperfect letter away. The wax becomes a dark, blank surface once again. It is a forgiving medium. Mistakes can be easily corrected. He tries again. This time, he is more careful. He makes the two curves more slowly, with more control. The result is better. The B is well formed, balanced. He feels a small spark of satisfaction. He continues through the alphabet, letter by letter. C, D, E, F. He falls into a rhythm. The world outside the small schoolroom fades away. The sounds of the street become a distant murmur. His entire world narrows down to the point of his stylus and the dark surface of the wax. He is focused on the simple, physical act of forming the letters. It is a meditative task. It requires concentration, a steady hand, and a clear mind. He can feel the slight resistance of the wax as the stylus moves through it. He can smell its faint beeswax scent. He can see the letters appearing one by one, a small army of symbols marching across the tablet. He becomes aware of the other boys around him. He can hear their scratching, some fast and confident, others slow and hesitant. He hears the frustrated sigh of the small boy next to him as he erases a mistake for the third time. He hears the sharp rap of Demetrios' stick on another boy's stool, a warning to pay attention. But these are just background noises. His focus is on his own work. He is in his own small world of creation. He finishes the alphabet for the first time. He looks over his work. It is not perfect. Some letters are better than others. His S is a little shaky. His Q looks a bit strange. But it is a good effort. He smooths the whole tablet clean with the flat end of his stylus, preparing the surface for his second attempt. He begins again. ABC this time, it is a little easier. His hand remembers the movements. The letters flow more smoothly from his mind to the wax. He thinks about the magic of these symbols. These simple scratches, these 23 shapes, can represent every sound, every word, every idea. They can tell stories of heroes and gods. They can record laws and histories. They can carry a message from a general in a distant land back to the Senate in Rome. It is a powerful magic, and he is learning to wield it. He feels a sense of awe at the thought. This is not just a boring drill. This is an initiation into a secret society, the society of those who can read and write. He is learning a code that will unlock the wisdom of the past and allow him to communicate across time and space. Demetrios walks by his stool. Lucius tenses, expecting a criticism. The teacher stops and looks down at his tablet. He watches as Lucius carefully forms the letter P. He says nothing. He just watches for a long moment. Then he gives a small, almost imperceptible nod and moves on. Lucius feels a surge of pride. A nod from Demetrios is high praise. He works with renewed determination. He finishes his second round of the alphabet, and his third, and his fourth. Each time, his letters become a little cleaner, a little more confident. He is no longer just copying shapes. He is writing. He is beginning to feel the flow, the rhythm of the language itself. The scratching of his stylus is no longer just a sound. It is the sound of a thought being made visible. The sun has climbed higher. A shaft of bright sunlight now cuts through the opening of the school, illuminating a patch of the dusty floor and making the air dance with golden particles. The lesson is not over, but a change is coming. The world of letters is about to give way to the world of words. After what feels like an eternity of scratching letters into wax, Demetrius claps his hands again. The sound is a welcome interruption. "Enough," he announces. "Put your tablets down." A collective sigh of relief seems to pass through the small group of boys. Lucius rests his stylus beside his tablet and flexes his fingers. They are stiff from gripping the iron tool so tightly. The focused, silent work has made the room feel even warmer, and he can feel a trickle of sweat running down his back. The Magister moves to the front of the room and picks up a scroll from a small table beside his chair. It is a papyrus scroll, a roll of yellowish paper-like material held together by a wooden rod at each end. This is a book. For most of these boys, the only books they ever see are the ones their teacher holds. Papyrus is expensive, and scrolls are precious things. Demetrios handles it with a reverence that all the boys have learned to imitate. He carefully unrolls a section of the scroll, revealing several columns of dense, black text. There are no spaces between the words. It is just a long, unbroken string of letters. Learning to read this is a difficult skill. It requires the reader to mentally break the string of letters into words, a task that demands concentration and a good understanding of the language. Today, Demetrios says, his voice taking on a more formal, serious tone. We will read from the great poet, Virgil. We will hear of the journey of Aeneas, the father of our people. He holds the scroll up so they can all see the text, though from this distance it is just a blur of black marks. Listen carefully. These are not just words, they have weight. They have meaning, they have built our world. He begins to read. His voice is not the same as when he is teaching letters. It is deeper, more resonant. He does not just read the words. He performs them. He gives each word its proper emphasis, its proper rhythm. He is reading in Latin, the formal, literary Latin of poets and orators, not the everyday street Latin the boys speak among themselves. Arma virem cano, he begins, his voice filling the small room. I sing of arms and the man. The words are like music. The boys listen in silence. Most of them do not understand everything he is saying. The vocabulary is complex, the sentence structure difficult, but they understand the feeling. They can hear the clash of swords, the roar of the sea, the sorrow of a hero who has lost his home. Lucius is captivated. He leans forward on his stool, his eyes fixed on the teacher. He has heard these lines before. Titos has recited them to him, but hearing them from Demetrios with such power and passion is different. The words seem to come alive in the dusty air of the schoolroom. Demetrios reads for several minutes, telling the story of the fall of Troy and the escape of Aeneas. His voice rises and falls with the drama of the story. The boys are no longer fidgeting. They are still transported to another time, another place. They are on the shores of Troy, watching the great city burn. They are on a storm-tossed ship, fleeing for their lives. This is the power of words. This is the magic that Lucius was thinking about earlier. It is the ability to create worlds with nothing but sounds and symbols. Finally, Demetrios stops. He rolls the scroll back up carefully and sets it down. The silence in the room is heavy. It is as if the ghost of the story still lingers in the air. Now, the teacher says, his voice returning to its normal, practical tone. We will learn a small part of this. You will memorize it. You will carry these words with you for the rest of your lives. He turns to the board and, with his charcoal, he writes out the first line. Arma Viremka Kano. He points to it with his ferula. Repeat after me. Arma. The boys, their voices small after the power of the teacher's reading. Repeat. Arma Viremsk. They go over it again and again. Demetrios breaks the words down, explaining their meaning. Arma means arms, weapons, war. Viremek means and the man. Kano means I sing. So, the poet is telling us what his song is about. War and a man. He makes them chant the line together, over and over, until the rhythm is ingrained in their minds. He calls on individual boys to recite it alone. One boy stumbles over the words, and Demetrios corrects him sharply. No, the accent is on the first syllable. Arma, not Arma. Say it correctly. The boy, his face red with embarrassment, tries again. The pressure is intense. To fail in front of your peers is a terrible thing. Lucius practices the line in his head, moving his lips silently. He wants to be ready when it is his turn. He feels the weight of the words, just as Demetrios said. These are not just any words. They are the first words of the most important poem in their world. To know them is to be a part of a great tradition. It is a mark of being educated, of being Roman. Finally, Demetrios points his stick at Lucius. Lucius, recite. Lucius stands up from his stool. He takes a breath. He looks at the teacher, not at the board. He wants to show that he has truly learned it, that the words are inside him now. He speaks, his voice clear and steady. Arma Viremik Kano. He puts the emphasis in the right places. He pauses slightly after each word, giving it its proper space. He can feel Tito's watching him from the corner of the room. He can feel the eyes of the other boys on him. He has done it correctly. Demetrios gives another one of his small, rare nods. Good, he says simply. Sit down, Lucius sits, a wave of relief washing over him. He has passed the test. He has taken the first step in a long journey of learning. He has taken a small piece of the great poet's work and made it his own. The lesson continues. They learn another line and then another. It is slow, difficult work, but it is important work. They are not just learning to read. They are learning what it means to be Roman. They are learning the stories that bind them all together. The weight of these words is the weight of their own history, their own culture, their own identity. And they are learning to carry it on their own shoulders. The sun is now high in the sky. The shaft of light that enters the schoolroom has moved across the floor and is now climbing up the opposite wall. The air is heavy and hot. The energy of the morning has been replaced by a certain weariness. The boys are restless. Their attention is starting to fray. They have been sitting on hard stools for hours, concentrating intensely. Demetrios sees it. He is a skilled teacher, and he knows the limits of young minds. He claps his hands, but this time the sound is less sharp, more of a signal than a command. It is time for a pause, he announces. You may rest for a short while. Eat if you have brought something, but do not be loud, and do not wander far. The boys do not need to be told twice. There is a scraping of stools and a low buzz of conversation as they get up and stretch their stiff limbs. The formal, tense atmosphere of the lesson dissolves in an instant. the room becomes a place of boys again, not just students. Lucius stands up and stretches, arching his back and raising his arms over his head. It feels good to move. He walks over to the corner where Titos is standing. The old Greek has been standing in the same spot all morning, silent and watchful. He gives Lucius a warm look, a silent expression of approval for his good recitation. From a small leather bag, Titos produces Lucius's midday snack. It is not much, just a handful of dried figs and a small piece of hard cheese. But after a morning of hard mental work, it seems like a feast. Lucius takes the food with a grateful nod. He and Titos step out from under the curtain into the street. The brightness of the sun is a shock after the dimness of the schoolroom. Lucius has to squint for a moment as his eyes adjust. The street is much busier now than it was at dawn. It is filled with people walking in both directions, a river of humanity. The noise is a constant roar, the shouts of merchants, the rumble of cartwheels, the braying of a donkey. The laughter and arguments of 100 different conversations, all happening at once. The air is thick with smells. Street food cooking over charcoal braziers, fragrant spices from a nearby shop, the less pleasant smell of garbage piled in a corner. Lucius and Titos find a place to stand out of the main flow of traffic in the shade of a building's overhang. Lucius begins to eat his snack. He bites into a dried fig. It is sweet and chewy, bursting with a concentrated, sugary flavor. The small, crunchy seeds pop between his teeth. It is a wonderful taste. The cheese is hard and salty. It is a good contrast to the sweetness of the fig. He eats slowly, savoring each bite. He watches the life of the street unfold before him. It is better than any theater. A group of soldiers, their armor and helmets gleaming in the sun, march by with a confident stride. A rich woman is carried past in a litter, a covered couch carried on the shoulders of 4 strong slaves. She is hidden behind curtains, a mysterious and important presence. A street performer is juggling brightly colored balls, trying to attract a crowd and earn a few coins. Children are chasing each other through the crowd, their shouts of joy cutting through the general noise. Lucius sees another boy from his school, Marcus, talking to his own pedagogus. Marcus is the son of a senator, and he comes to school with an air of superiority. He always has the best tablets, the finest stylus. Lucius does not like him very much. Marcus catches his eye and gives him a slight sneer before turning away. Titos watches him eat. "You did well today, Lucius," the old man says, his voice a low rumble. "You spoke the poet's words with strength." "Thank you, Titos," Lucius replies, his mouth full of cheese. "Demetrios is a hard master." "He is," Titos agrees. "But he is a good one. He forges you like a blacksmith forges a sword. The heat and the hammer blows are not pleasant, but they make you strong." Lucius thinks about this. It is true. The lessons are difficult, and Demetrios is frightening, but he is learning. He is growing. He can read and write things now that were just meaningless scratches to him a year ago. He can feel his own mind getting sharper, stronger. He finishes his food. He is still hungry, but the small snack has taken the edge off his hunger and restored some of his energy. The break is short. It is not a time for play. It is just a brief respite a moment to catch one's breath before plunging back into the work. Other boys are eating as well. Some have bread, others have olives or fruit. They talk in small, quiet groups, their voices low, so as not to attract the attention of Demetrios, who is standing just inside the curtain, watching everything. The sun feels warm and pleasant on his skin, a welcome change from the cool, dusty air of the schoolroom. He watches a line of ants marching purposefully along a crack in the paving stones. They are carrying small crumbs, working together in a perfect, silent collaboration. He wonders where they are going. He wonders what their lives are like. For a moment, he is lost in the small world of the ants, forgetting about school, about lessons, about everything. Titos touches his arm gently. "It is time," he says. The short pause is over. Lucius takes one last look at the bright, noisy, chaotic world of the street. He takes a deep breath, as if he can store up some of its life and energy to take back with him into the dim, quiet room. He turns, and together, he and Titos step back under the heavy curtain, leaving the sun and the noise behind. The world of numbers is waiting for them. The second half of the school day is about to begin. Stepping back into the schoolroom is like entering a different world. The dimness and relative quiet feel strange after the bright chaos of the street. The boys are all returning to their stools. The brief moment of freedom over. The mood has shifted. The morning was about words, about poetry, about the flowing and sometimes ambiguous world of language. The afternoon is about something else entirely. It is about numbers, about logic, about a world of hard, unchangeable rules. For many of the boys, including Lucius, this is the most difficult part of the day. Demetrios is already at the front of the room. The scroll of Virgil has been put away. In its place, on the small table, is an abacus. It is a simple counting frame, a wooden rectangle with several rods stretched across it. On each rod are a number of small beads that can slide back and forth. This simple tool is the key to Roman arithmetic. Without it, calculations involving large numbers are nearly impossible, especially with the clumsy system of Roman numerals. Numbers, Demetrios begins. His voice, flat and serious, are the language of reality. A poem can make you feel something. A number tells you what is true. How many soldiers in a legion? How much grain in a warehouse? How much tax is owed? These are not matters of opinion. They are matters of fact, and you will learn to master them. His gaze sweeps across the room, and it seems to linger on the boys who he knows find this subject difficult. Lucius feels a familiar knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. He is good with words. They come easily to him. Numbers are different. They are cold, abstract, and confusing. He can memorize a line of poetry after hearing it twice, but he struggles to remember the steps for a simple multiplication problem. Demetrios picks up the abacus. We will begin with a review of addition. He slides some beads on the frame. If I have 327 denarii, and I earn 145 more, how many do I have in total? He moves the beads with practiced speed, his fingers flying across the rods. Click, click, clack. The answer, he says, after a few moments, is 472. It is simple. You add the units, you carry the tens, you add the tens, you carry the hundreds. The process is always the same. The boys all have their own smaller, personal abacuses. They are not as fine as the teachers. They are just simple wooden frames with pebbles that slide in grooves. Lucius takes his out of his bag. He looks at the small stones, and his mind feels blank. Demetrios begins to give them problems to solve. 42 plus 79. Lucius tries to follow along on his own abacus. He slides to pebbles in the units column. He slides 4 in the tens column. Then he needs to add 79. He adds 9 pebbles to the units column. He counts them. 2 plus 9 is 11. So that is 1 unit, and he has to carry 1 10. He leaves 1 pebble in the units column and moves 1 pebble over to the tens column. Now he adds the tens. 4 plus 7 plus the 1 he carried over. That makes 12. So that is 2 in the tens column, and he has to carry 1 to the hundreds column. The answer is 121. He looks up. Demetrios is already writing the answer on the board with his charcoal. Lucius has gotten it right. He feels a small sense of relief. But the next problem is harder, and the one after that is harder still. They move on to subtraction, which involves borrowing instead of carrying, a process he finds even more confusing. He tries his best to keep up. He focuses all his energy on the small pebbles, sliding them back and forth in their grooves. The clacking of the pebbles from all the abacuses fills the room, a dry, rattling sound. But his mind keeps stumbling. He loses his place. He forgets if he has carried a 10 or not. He looks at the abacus of the boy next to him and sees that his own answer is completely different. A feeling of panic begins to rise in his chest. Demetrios is walking through the rows again, his eyes sharp, missing nothing. He stops at the stool of a boy who is struggling. "No," the teacher says, his voice sharp. "You have forgotten to borrow from the hundreds. Your answer is wrong. Do it again." The boy, close to tears, erases his work on his wax tablet and starts over. Lucius keeps his head down, hoping the teacher will not stop at his stool. He feels stupid. He feels slow. Why is this so hard for him? Marcus, the senator's son, seems to solve the problems with effortless ease. He finishes each one quickly and then sits back with a smug look on his face, waiting for the others to catch up. Lucius feels a surge of resentment towards him. The ultimate challenge is multiplication. Demetrios writes a problem on the board, 36 multiplied by 17. This is a nightmare. It involves a long series of steps, multiplying units by units, then units by tens, then tens by units, then tens by tens, and then adding all the results together. It is a process that is incredibly easy to get wrong. Lucius takes a deep breath and begins. He tries to remember the steps Titos showed him last night. He writes the intermediate numbers on his wax tablet, trying to keep them aligned in the correct columns. The surface of his tablet becomes a mess of numbers. He gets lost in the middle of the calculation. He erases it all and starts again. He can feel the teacher getting closer. He can feel his shadow falling over him. He risks a glance up. Demetrios is standing right beside him, looking down at his frantic calculations. Lucius freezes. He is sure he is about to be scolded, or worse, feel the sting of the ferula on his hand. But Demetrios is silent. He just watches. Then he reaches down with his finger and points to a single number on Lucius's tablet. "There," he says, his voice surprisingly gentle. "You forgot to carry the 1 from this step. That is why your final sum is wrong. Start the addition again from here." He taps the spot and then walks away. Lucius stares at the tablet. The teacher is right. It was a small mistake, a simple oversight, but it threw off the entire result. He feels a strange mix of relief and gratitude. The teacher did not punish him. He helped him. He showed him the exact point where he had gone astray. With a new sense of clarity, Lucius erases the last part of the problem and does the addition again. Carefully this time, he gets the answer. 612. He looks at the board. It is the correct answer. He has done it. He has climbed the mountain. The knot of anxiety in his stomach loosens just a little. He may not be a natural with numbers, but with focus and with help, he can find the right path. The lesson is nearly over. The end of the school day is in sight. Finally, after what seems like a lifetime of numbers, Demetrios claps his hands one last time. "That is all for today," he announces. "Collect your things. You are dismissed." A wave of relief and happiness sweeps through the room. The boys erupt in a cheer that is quickly silenced by a single, sharp glare from the teacher. The dismissal is orderly but swift. Stools scrape on the floor. Tablets and styluses are hastily packed into leather bags. There is a flurry of movement as the boys, eager to escape, gather their belongings. Lucius quickly puts his own things away. He feels drained, exhausted by the intense concentration of the past few hours. But he also feels a sense of accomplishment. He survived another day of school. He learned something new. He faced a challenge and, with a little help, he overcame it. He walks over to Tito's, who gives him a small, reassuring smile. They join the stream of boys and their tutors who are filing out from under the curtain and back into the bright, noisy street. The world outside feels different now than it did during the midday pause. The sun is at its highest point in the sky, beating down on the city. The heat is intense. It rises in shimmering waves from the flagstones. The shade from the buildings offers little relief. The city is at its peak of activity. The streets are choked with people, with carts, with animals. The noise is a deafening roar, a chaotic blend of 1,000 different sounds. It is the full, unrestrained voice of Rome at midday. The journey home is slower, more difficult than the journey to school in the morning. They have to push their way through the crowds, Tito's clearing a path for Lucius with his body, his hand resting protectively on the boy's shoulder. The air is thick with dust and smells. The delicious aroma of baking bread and grilling meat from food stalls mixes with the less pleasant smells of sweat, garbage, and animal dung. It is a powerful, overwhelming assault on the senses. But Lucius is used to it. It is the smell of his city. They pass a group of men gathered around a man who is reading from a notice board, shouting out the latest news or public announcements. They pass a snake charmer playing a reedy pipe while a cobra sways in a basket at his feet. They have to step aside to make way for a procession of priests in white robes, carrying a statue of a goddess on a litter, chanting in a strange, ancient tongue. There is always something to see, something happening. The walk home is a constant spectacle. As they get closer to their own neighborhood, the streets become slightly less crowded. The roar of the central city fades to a more manageable hum. Here, the life is more local. Lucius sees people he recognizes. He waves to the baker, a large, flour-dusted man who is standing in the doorway of his shop, enjoying the sun. The baker grins and waves back. He sees the wife of the man who owns the wine shop, haggling with a farmer over the price of a basket of grapes. He sees his sister's friends, a group of girls who are sitting on the steps of a temple, talking and laughing together. This is his neighborhood. These are his people. He feels a sense of comfort, of belonging. They turn onto his own street. It is quieter here, more residential. The tall apartment buildings, the insulae, give way to the large, private homes. The domas of wealthy merchants like his father. He can see the door to his own house now, a welcome sight. He is tired. He is hungry. He is looking forward to the main meal of the day, the prondium, and the long, quiet afternoon that will follow. Tito's walks with him to the door and knocks loudly. After a moment, they hear the sound of the bolt being drawn, and the door swings open. They step inside, into the cool, shaded hallway. The door closes behind them, and the noise of the city is shut out, replaced by the familiar peace and quiet of his home. He is safe. He is back in his own world. He takes a deep breath. The air inside smells of cooking food, of clean water from the impluvium, of flowers from the garden. It is the smell of home. The long morning of work is over. The rest of the day stretches out before him, a promise of food, rest, and perhaps a little play. The schoolboy's duty is done. Now he can just be a boy again, stepping from the bright, hot street into the cool dimness of the atrium is a profound relief. Lucius's eyes take a moment to adjust. The house is quiet, but it is a living quiet. He can hear the gentle splashing of the fountain in the peristyle, the garden courtyard at the back of the house. He can hear the distant, rhythmic chopping of a knife from the kitchen. The air is still and cool, a welcome respite from the oppressive heat outside. His mother, Aurelia, is waiting for them in the atrium. She is a tall, graceful woman with a calm and gentle face. She is dressed in a simple but elegant stola, a long, pleated garment worn by Roman matrons. She smiles as she sees Lucius. "Welcome home, my son," she says, her voice soft and warm. She places a hand on his cheek, her skin cool against his. "Was your morning a good one?" "Yes, mother," Lucius says. "We read from Virgil." "Ah, that is good," she says. "A boy must know his Virgil." She looks at Tito's and nods. "Thank you for watching over him, Tito's." Tito's bows his head in acknowledgement. He was a good student today. Aurelia leads them from the atrium through the tablinum, his father's study, and into the peristyle. This is the heart of the house. It is a beautiful open-air garden, surrounded by a covered colonnade. In the center is a small fountain, its water sparkling in the sun. There are flower beds filled with roses and lilies, and a few small fruit trees provide shade. The walls of the colonnade are decorated with colorful frescoes, paintings of birds, flowers, and scenes from mythology. It is a peaceful, beautiful place, a private oasis hidden away from the noise and grime of the city. The midday meal, the prondium, is served here, in the shade of the colonnade. It is usually a simple, informal meal. A small table has been set up with 3 couches arranged around it in a U-shape. This is the triclinium, the traditional Roman dining arrangement. His father, Gaius, is already there, reclining on one of the couches. He is a large man with a stern face, but his eyes soften when he sees Lucius. He is a busy merchant and is not always home for this meal, so his presence is a welcome surprise. Lucius, his father says, his voice a deep rumble. Come, sit, tell me what you learned today that will make you a useful man. Lucius smiles. It is his father's usual greeting, a mix of affection and expectation. He takes his place on one of the couches, leaning on his left elbow, as is the custom. Titos does not join them. He will eat later with the other slaves in the kitchen. A house slave, a young boy named Davis, comes forward with a basin of water and a linen towel. He pours a little warm, rose-scented water over Lucius's hands, and Lucius dries them on the towel. This is a ritual of cleanliness before eating. Once his hands are clean, Davis brings the food. The prondium is not a large feast like the evening meal. The cena can sometimes be. It is a simple, light lunch. Today there is a platter of bread, much finer and whiter than the coarse bread Lucius had for breakfast. There is a bowl of olives, glistening with oil. There is a plate of sliced cucumbers and radishes, fresh from the garden. The main dish is a simple stew of lentils and vegetables, served warm in a large clay bowl. There is also a small plate of cold meat, left over from last night's dinner. To drink, there is water and a jug of wine, heavily diluted with water. For a boy like Lucius, the wine is mostly water, just enough to give it a bit of flavor. They eat with their hands, using pieces of bread to scoop up the stew. The conversation is quiet and relaxed. His father asks him about his morning, about his lessons. Lucius tells him about the long division problem he struggled with, and how Demetrios helped him. His father nods. Good. A man must not be afraid to ask for help when he does not know something. But he must also learn to solve his own problems. His mother asks him about his friends at school. She wants to know who he is spending his time with. She gently warns him to stay away from a boy who is known to be a bully. It is a simple, domestic scene. A family sharing a meal, talking about their day. They are far removed from the noise and struggle of the city outside their walls. Here, in their peaceful garden, they are in their own private world. Lucius enjoys the food. The lentil stew is warm and savory. The fresh vegetables are crisp and cool. The olives are salty and rich. He eats until he is full, but not stuffed. He feels a sense of deep contentment. He is safe, he is well fed, he is with his family. These are the simple, solid pillars of his life. After the meal, Davis brings a bowl of fresh fruit, a few ripe peaches, and a bunch of grapes. The peaches are soft and juicy, their sweetness a perfect end to the meal. As they eat the fruit, his father tells them about his day at the market, about a new shipment of spices that has arrived from Egypt. Lucius listens, trying to understand the world of commerce, the world of his father. He knows that one day he may have to join that world. But for now, he is happy to just be a boy, enjoying a quiet meal in the sun-dappled garden of his home. The meal ends. His father must return to his business. His mother has household duties to attend to. For Lucius, the most pleasant part of the day is about to begin. The afternoon rest. After the midday meal, a deep quiet settles over the house, and indeed, over the entire city of Rome. This is the time of the siesta, the long afternoon rest. The sun is at its most powerful, and the heat can be draining. All sensible people retreat indoors, into the cool shade, to rest, to nap, to escape the harshest part of the day. The shops close their shutters. The streets become quiet and empty. The frantic energy of the morning dissolves into a sleepy, heavy stillness. Lucius feels it too. His belly is full, and the hard work of the morning has left him tired. His eyelids feel heavy. He retreats to his own room, his small cubic. The room is dark and cool, a perfect sanctuary from the heat. The stone floor feels pleasant beneath his bare feet. He takes off his sandals and his tunic, leaving them in a neat pile on the wooden chest. He is wearing only a simple linen loincloth. He lies down on his bed. The straw mattress rustles beneath him. He does not pull the blanket over him. It is too warm for that. He just lies on his back, his hands behind his head, and stares up at the ceiling. He does not fall asleep right away. He lets his mind drift. He thinks about his day. He sees the letters on the wax tablet, hears the sound of Virgil's poetry, feels the frustration of the difficult math problem. He sees the faces in the crowded street, the baker, the soldiers, the snake charmer. His mind replays the small moments, the little details. It is a way of processing the day, of storing away the memories. The house is almost completely silent. He can hear the faint, distant hum of a bee in the garden outside. He can hear the slow, steady rhythm of his own breathing. It is a deep, peaceful silence. This quiet time is a gift. It is a time for his body to recover and his mind to rest. It is a time of no demands, no expectations. He is free to do nothing, to just be. Eventually, his thoughts begin to slow down. The images in his mind become softer. The line between waking and sleeping begins to blur. He closes his eyes. The darkness behind his eyelids is comforting. He drifts into a light, pleasant sleep. He dreams of nothing in particular, just a feeling of floating in a warm, quiet sea. He sleeps for an hour or two. He wakes up slowly, naturally, without any sudden noise to startle him. The quality of the light in the room has changed. The sun has moved across the sky, and the light filtering through the high window is now a softer, more golden color. The intense heat of midday has passed. The air feels a little cooler, a little fresher. He sits up and stretches. He feels rested, restored. His energy has returned. The weariness of the morning is gone. He gets up and puts his tunic and sandals back on. He feels ready for the second half of his day. He leaves his room and goes back out into the atrium. The house is beginning to stir again. He can hear his mother's voice, giving instructions to a slave in the kitchen. He can hear his older sister, Livia, practicing her lyre in her room, the gentle, plucking notes drifting through the house. Livia is 15, and she is betrothed to be married soon. She no longer plays with him as she used to. She spends her days learning the skills she will need to be the mistress of her own household. Weaving, managing slaves, overseeing the kitchen. But sometimes, when she is in the right mood, she will still play a game with him. He finds her in the peristyle, sitting by the fountain, her lyre on her lap. She is a beautiful girl, with their mother's grace and their father's serious eyes. "Livia," he says, "will you play a game of knucklebones with me?" She looks up from her lyre and smiles. "I am supposed to be practicing," she says, but her eyes are twinkling. "But perhaps I can rest my fingers for a little while." She puts her instrument aside carefully. From a small pouch tied to her belt, she takes out a set of 5 small bones. They are the knuckle bones of a sheep, polished smooth from years of handling. The game is simple. You toss the bones in the air and try to catch as many as you can on the back of your hand. It requires skill and coordination. They sit on the edge of the fountain, the cool stone a pleasant contrast to the warm afternoon air. Livia goes first. She is very good at the game. She tosses the bones with the practiced flick of the wrist, and they seem to dance in the air. She catches all 5 on the back of her hand with effortless grace. She laughs at Lucius's impressed expression. "Your turn," she says, handing him the bones. Lucius tries his best. He tosses the bones, but they scatter in the air. He only manages to catch 2. "You are out of practice, little brother," Livia teases. They play for a while, their laughter echoing in the quiet garden. It is a simple, happy moment. It is a moment of pure play, with no lessons to be learned, no rules to be followed other than the rules of the game. It is a moment of connection between a brother and a sister. These moments are becoming more rare as they both get older, and Lucius treasures them. He knows that soon Livia will be gone, living in her own house with her own husband. This peaceful afternoon of play is a precious thing. He will remember it. It is one of the small, beautiful pieces that make up the mosaic of his day. The game of knucklebones ends when their father's voice calls out from his study. "Lucius, I have a task for you." Lucius says goodbye to his sister and runs to the tableau. His father is sitting at a large wooden desk, which is covered in scrolls, wax tablets, and writing implements. This is the nerve center of his business empire. He looks up as Lucius enters. "I need you to take a message to a man named Sextus Julius. He is a shipping agent. You will find him in his office in the Forum. Tito's will go with you." His father hands him a small, sealed papyrus scroll. It is tied with a piece of string, and a blob of wax stamped with his father's seal ensures that no one can read it without breaking the seal. "Give this to him and only to him," his father says, his voice serious. "It is an important message. Do not lose it. Do not be distracted. Go directly there and come directly back. Do you understand?" "Yes, father," Lucius says, taking the scroll. He feels a surge of importance. This is not a game. This is real work. His father is trusting him with a piece of his business. It makes him feel grown up. He finds Tito's waiting for him in the atrium. The old Greek looks at the scroll in Lucius's hand and nods. He understands. They leave the house once more, stepping back out into the city. The afternoon sun is less harsh now, and long shadows are beginning to stretch across the streets. The city is alive again after the siesta. The crowds are thick, the noise is loud, but the frantic energy of midday has been replaced by a more relaxed, sociable atmosphere. The journey to the Forum is a journey to the very heart of Rome. The Forum Romanum is the center of the world. As far as Lucius is concerned, it is a vast, open plaza surrounded by the most important buildings in the city. Temples, law courts, and the Senate House. It is the center of government, of law, of religion, and of commerce. It is the place where everything happens. As they get closer, the crowds become denser. They see senators in their fine white togas, striding along with an air of immense self-importance, followed by their crowds of clients. They see lawyers in heated debate on the steps of a basilica. They see money changers at their tables, clinking coins and shouting exchange rates. They see priests making sacrifices at the altar of a temple, the smell of burning meat filling the air. Lucius holds the scroll tightly in his hand. He feels a little nervous in the midst of all this noise and activity. He stays close to Tito's, who navigates the crowded space with his usual calm competence. Tito's points out the famous landmarks to him. "That is the Temple of Saturn," he says, pointing to a magnificent building with tall columns. "The state treasury is kept in its vaults. And there, that is the rostra, the speaker's platform. I have heard the great Cicero himself give speeches from there." Lucius looks at it all with wide eyes. He has been here before, many times, but the scale and grandeur of the place never fails to impress him. This is Rome. This is the power and the glory that he reads about in his lessons. He feels a great sense of pride to be a part of it. They find the office of Sextus Julius in a long, two-story building on the edge of the Forum. The ground floor is a line of small shops and offices known as Tobane. They find the one with the name Sextus Julius painted above the door. The office is a small, cramped room, filled with scrolls and stacked with wooden crates. A man is sitting at a desk, arguing with the ship's captain, who smells of salt and fish. The man at the desk is Sextus Julius. He is a short, bald man with a sharp, intelligent face. He looks stressed and overworked. Lucius waits patiently until the argument is over and the ship's captain storms out of the office, muttering curses. Then he steps forward. "Master Sextus," he asks, his voice a little shaky. The man looks up, his expression annoyed. "What is it, boy?" "I am very busy." Lucius holds out the scroll. "I have a message for you from my father, Gaius Cornelius." At the mention of his father's name, the shipping agent's expression changes. Gaius Cornelius is an important client. Sextus becomes much more polite. "Ah, a message from the good Gaius. Excellent. Give it to me." Lucius hands him the scroll. Sextus breaks the seal and quickly unrolls it, his eyes scanning the text. He reads it, then reads it again, his brow furrowed in concentration. He looks up at Lucius. "This is very important," he says, more to himself than to the boy. "This changes things." He quickly finds a blank piece of papyrus and dips a reed pen into a pot of ink. He scribbles a short reply, his pen scratching furiously. He does not bother to roll it up or seal it. He just folds it and hands it to Lucius. "Here, take this back to your father. Tell him I will see to it at once. Now go, run." Lucius takes the folded paper. "Thank you, master," he says. He and Tito's leave the small, cluttered office and step back out into the controlled chaos of the Forum. His mission is half complete. Now he just has to get the reply safely back to his father. He holds the paper just as tightly as he held the scroll. He feels the weight of responsibility. He walks a little faster on the way back, his steps filled with a new sense of purpose. He is no longer just a schoolboy. He is a messenger a small but important cog in the great machine of Roman commerce. After Lucius delivers the reply to his father, who reads it with a satisfied grunt, his duties for the day are officially over. His father places a hand on his shoulder. "You did well, son. You are learning to be a reliable man." The praise from his father makes Lucius feel warm inside. It is not given often, so it means a great deal. Now, his father continues, "The day's work is done. Go and wash away the dust of the city. Go to the baths. This is the best part of the Roman day. The visit to the public baths, the thermae, is not just about getting clean. It is a social ritual, a place of relaxation, exercise, and conversation. It is central to Roman life." Lucius is filled with excitement. He quickly changes into an old, worn tunic, and Titus does the same. They will not wear their good clothes to the baths. They also grab a scraper, a strigil, which is a curved metal tool for scraping off oil and dirt, and a flask of olive oil. They do not take soap. Romans do not use soap in the way we do. They clean themselves with oil. They walk to the local bathhouse, which is not far from their home. It is a huge, magnificent building, a palace dedicated to the people. Even a modest neighborhood bathhouse is an impressive structure, with high vaulted ceilings, marble floors, and beautiful mosaics. The entrance fee is very small, just a single quadrans, the smallest Roman coin. Women and children can often enter for free. They enter into a large, noisy changing room, the appellatorium. It is crowded with men and boys of all ages and social classes. There are senators and slaves, soldiers and shopkeepers, all mixing together in a state of septiundress. The air is warm and steamy and echoes with the sound of hundreds of conversations, of laughter, of shouting. Lucius and Titus find a small niche in the wall to store their clothes and sandals. There are no lockers. You either trust that no one will steal your things, or you have a slave, like Titus, stand guard over them. Lucius undresses completely. In the baths, everyone is equal in their nakedness. He feels a sense of freedom in this. Their first stop is the palestra, a large open-air courtyard for exercise. It is important to work up a sweat before entering the hot rooms. The courtyard is filled with men engaged in various activities. Some are lifting weights. Some are practicing boxing or wrestling. Others are playing a fast-paced game with a small, hard ball. Lucius and a few other boys start a simple running game, chasing each other around the perimeter of the courtyard. He runs until he is out of breath, his skin covered in a light sheen of sweat, his muscles warm and loose. He feels alive, his body humming with energy. After exercising, it is time to begin the bathing process itself. They move from the palestra into the first of the bathrooms, the tepidarium. This is a warm room, heated by a clever underfloor heating system called a hypocaust. The air is pleasantly warm and moist. The purpose of this room is to allow the body to adjust to the heat gradually. Lucius and Titus sit on a marble bench, relaxing, letting the warmth soak into their bodies. Men are sitting around, talking, gossiping, doing business deals. The baths are the city's living room. From the tepidarium, they move into the caldarium, the hot room. The change in temperature is dramatic. The air in the caldarium is incredibly hot and steamy, like a modern sauna. It is so thick with steam that it is difficult to see across the room. The heat is intense, and it immediately opens up the pores. Lucius begins to sweat profusely. This is the point of the room, to sweat out all the dirt and impurities from the body. In the center of the room is a large tub of very hot water, where people can soak. Lucius dips his toe in, but it is too hot for him. He prefers to just sit in the steamy air. After spending some time in the caldarium, it is time for the cleaning process. Titos rubs olive oil all over Lucius's body, from his neck down to his feet. Then, using the curved metal strigil, he carefully scrapes the oil off. The strigil removes not only the oil, but also all the sweat and dirt that has been loosened from his skin. It is a strange but satisfying sensation. He can see the grey mixture of oil and dirt coming off his skin. After the scraping, they need to cool down. They move to the final room, the frigidarium. This room contains a large, deep pool of unheated, cold water. Stepping into the cold pool after the intense heat of the caldarium is a massive shock to the system. Lucius gasps as he plunges in. The cold is breathtaking, but after the initial shock, it feels wonderful. It closes the pores, refreshes the skin, and invigorates the entire body. He splashes around in the pool with the other boys, shouting and laughing. He feels completely clean, completely refreshed, completely alive. It is a feeling of total renewal. They get out of the pool, dry themselves with linen towels, and head back to the changing room. The whole process has taken over an hour. They get dressed, feeling clean and relaxed. The sun is beginning to set as they leave the bathhouse. The sky is turning a beautiful orange and purple. The day is winding down. The walk home is quiet and peaceful. Lucius feels a deep sense of well-being. His body is clean. His mind is calm. He is at peace with the world. The day has been long and full, and its final chapters are about to be written. The walk home from the baths is a slow, relaxed journey. The energy of the city is changing. The frantic pace of the day is softening into the more leisurely rhythm of the evening. The harsh sunlight has been replaced by a warm, golden glow that bathes the city's stone buildings in a beautiful light. The shadows are long and deep, stretching like dark fingers across the streets and plazas. Many people are on their way home, just like Lucius and Tito's. The crowds are still there, but they move with less urgency. The mood is lighter. People are looking forward to their evening meal, to a time of rest and family. The air feels cooler on Lucius's clean skin. He can still feel the pleasant, tingling sensation from the cold plunge pool. His body feels light and clean, and his mind is clear and calm. The worries of the school day, the difficulties with numbers, seem very far away now. They were part of a different world, a different time. The bath has washed them away, at least for a while. As they walk, they pass food stalls that are now selling evening snacks. The smell of grilled sausages and roasted chickpeas fills the air. They see people gathering in wine shops, their conversations spilling out into the street. They hear music coming from an open doorway, the sound of a flute playing a sweet, sad melody. The city is putting on its evening clothes, preparing for the night. Tito's is quiet on the walk home. He seems to be enjoying the peaceful atmosphere as much as Lucius is. The old Greek often has a sad, distant look in his eyes. as if he is remembering a life he once had, a home he lost. But at this moment, in the beautiful light of the setting sun, his face looks more relaxed, more at peace. He points out a flock of swallows swooping and diving in the sky above the rooftops. Their dark shapes stark against the colorful clouds. They will fly south soon, Tito says, his voice soft. To escape the winter, they are wise birds. Lucius watches them, feeling a small sense of wonder. The city is full of these small, beautiful moments, if you just take the time to notice them. They arrive back at their own street. It is quiet and peaceful. The sounds of the larger city are just a distant murmur here. Oil lamps are beginning to be lit in the windows of the houses, their small, flickering flames creating warm pools of light in the growing twilight. It is a comforting sight. It is a sign of home, of safety, of the coming night's rest. They reach their own door. This time they do not need to knock. The doorkeeper sees them coming and opens the heavy door for them. They step inside and the door closes, sealing them once again into their own private world. The atrium is lit with several oil lamps, placed in high stands. The flickering light casts dancing shadows on the walls and pillars, making the room feel mysterious and alive. The impluvium in the center reflects the last deep blue of the evening sky, a square of fading light in the heart of the house. The smells of the house are different in the evening. The clean, watery smell of the day is now mixed with the rich, savory aromas of the evening meal being prepared in the kitchen. Lucius's stomach rumbles. The light lunch and the exercise at the baths have made him hungry again. His sister, Livia, is in the atrium, lighting more lamps with a long taper. She smiles at him. "You smell clean," she says. "Did you enjoy the baths?" "Yes," Lucius says. "It was good." He can hear his mother's voice coming from the peristyle, where she is talking with the slave in charge of the garden. He can hear his father's voice from the tablinum, deep and low, as he dictates a letter to a scribe. The house is a hive of quiet evening activity. Everyone is in their proper place, doing their proper tasks. It is a well-ordered world, a world where everything makes sense. Lucius goes to his room to put away his bathing things. His small cubiculum is dark. He does not light a lamp. He likes the darkness. He can see the rectangle of the high window, now a deep, velvety blue. Soon it will be black, and the stars will appear. He feels a sense of profound peace. The day has been a long journey, full of different places, different feelings, different challenges. He started the day as a sleepy boy in a cold, dark room. He became a student, a messenger, a bather. He has traveled through the city and through a whole range of experiences. Now he is home again. He is back where he started, but he is not the same. Every day changes you in small, almost imperceptible ways. Every day adds another layer to who you are. He feels this, though he does not have the words to express it. He is ready for the final part of his day, the evening meal and the long, deep sleep that will follow. The evening meal, the cena, is the main social event of the day. It is a time for the family to gather, to talk, and to relax together after the day's work is done. Tonight, it is just the family, Lucius, his sister, Livia, and their parents. They do not have guests, so the meal will be relatively simple and informal. They gather in the triclinium, the formal dining room. The room is beautifully decorated with frescoes of garden scenes on the walls, making it feel as if they are dining outdoors. The room is lit by several large ornate bronze oil lamps that cast a warm, steady glow over the scene. The 3 couches are arranged around a central table, which is low to the ground. They take their usual places, reclining on their left sides, propped up on plush cushions. Lucius lies on a couch with his father. His mother and Livia share another. The 3rd couch is left empty. A slave comes to wash their hands again with warm water, a ritual that marks the formal beginning of the meal. The first course, the gastatio, is brought in. It is designed to stimulate the appetite. Tonight, it consists of hard-boiled eggs, sliced and sprinkled with a spicy sauce, a dish of black and green olives, and some raw vegetables like celery and radishes, served with a salty dip. The food is simple but delicious. As they eat, the conversation begins. His father asks Livia about her weaving. She tells him she is working on a complex new pattern. His mother talks about a problem with one of the kitchen slaves, and his father offers some advice. The talk is of household matters, of the small details that make up their world. It is a quiet, comfortable conversation. Lucius mostly listens. He enjoys hearing his parents talk. It makes him feel connected to the adult world, to the world of responsibilities and decisions. After the appetizers are finished, the slaves clear the table and bring in the main course, the prima mensa. This is the heart of the meal. Tonight, there is a large roasted fish, seasoned with herbs and lemon. There is also a side dish of stewed cabbage and a kind of porridge made from barley. And of course, there is plenty of good white bread to eat with it all. The slave carves the fish at the table and serves a portion to each person. The fish is flaky and delicious. Lucius eats it carefully, picking out the small bones. He uses a piece of bread to soak up the tasty juices from the platter. The wine flows freely for the adults. A slave is dedicated to keeping their cups full. Lucius is given his own cup of heavily watered wine. It is more of a symbolic gesture than anything else, a sign that he is part of the adult ritual of the meal. The conversation becomes more animated. His father tells a funny story about a foolish client he dealt with that day, and they all laugh. His mother shares some gossip she heard from a friend at the market. Livia talks about her upcoming wedding, her voice a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Lucius feels happy, surrounded by the warmth and laughter of his family. This is the bedrock of his life. Whatever challenges he faces at school or in the world outside, he knows he can always return to this place of safety and love. He feels a deep sense of security. After the main course is done, the table is cleared again. The slaves sweep the floor, gathering up any scraps of food that have been dropped. Then they bring in the final course, the secunda mensa, or dessert. This is Lucius's favorite part of the meal. Tonight, there are honey cakes, small, sweet pastries dripping with golden honey and sprinkled with poppy seeds. There is also a bowl of nuts and a plate of fresh apples. The honey cakes are warm and incredibly sweet. Lucius eats 2 of them, savoring every sticky, delicious bite. As they eat their dessert, the conversation becomes more reflective. The day is over, and it is a time for quiet thought. His father looks at Lucia's son. He says, his voice gentle, "You are growing up quickly. Soon you will leave the school of the literator and move on to the school of the grammaticus, where you will study history and literature in earnest. And then you will learn rhetoric, the art of public speaking. You have a long road of learning ahead of you. Lucius nods. He knows this. His childhood will not last forever. He is being prepared for a future, for a life as a Roman citizen, a life of duty and responsibility. The meal comes to a slow, gentle end. They are all full and content. The oil lamps are burning low. The house is quiet. The energy of the day has been completely spent. It is time for rest. They get up from their couches. Before they go to bed, they perform one last ritual. They go to the small shrine, the Lararium, which is in a corner of the atrium. In the shrine are small statues of the household gods, the Lares and Penates, the spirits that protect their family and their home. His father offers a small piece of a honey cake to the gods, placing it on a little altar. He says a short, quiet prayer, giving thanks for the day, for their food, for their health, and asking for protection through the night. Lucius stands beside him, his head bowed. He feels the presence of these unseen guardians. He feels the long chain of his ancestors, all the people who have lived in this house and prayed at this shrine before him. He is part of something ancient, something that will continue long after he is gone. The prayer is finished. It is time for bed. His mother kisses him on the forehead. "Sleep well, my love," she says. He says good night to his father and his sister. The family separates, each going to their own room, to their own private world of sleep and dreams. Lucius walks back to his cubiculum. The house is silent now, wrapped in a deep nocturnal peace. The only light comes from a single lamp left burning low in the atrium, its small flame a lonely sentinel in the vast darkness. He enters his room. It is completely dark. The deep blue of the evening sky has deepened to a star-dusted black. He does not light his own lamp. He prefers the darkness. His eyes quickly adjust, and he can make out the familiar shapes of his bed, his chest, his stool. He undresses in the dark, his movements slow and tired. He folds his tunic and places it on the chest. He takes off his sandals. He stands for a moment in the cool air, wearing only his loincloth. The stone floor is cold under his feet. A familiar sensation that now feels like a final, grounding touch at the end of the day. It connects him to the solid reality of the house, of the earth beneath it. He gets into bed. The straw mattress rustles, a dry, comforting sound. He pulls the heavy wool blanket over him. The bed is cool at first, but his own body heat quickly begins to warm the space around him, creating a cozy cocoon of warmth. He lies on his back, his head resting on the simple cloth pillow. He stares up into the darkness. His body is tired, but his mind is still active. The day plays itself out one last time behind his closed eyes. He sees the letters on the wax, hears the roar of the forum, feels the shock of the cold water at the baths. It was a good day. It was a full day. He thinks about the secret we were searching for, that quiet truth hidden in the ordinary moments. Where was it? Was it in the taste of the morning bread, connecting him to the earth and the sun? Was it in the weight of Virgil's words, connecting him to the long, deep story of his people? Was it in the sharp sting of the teacher's correction, a reminder that growth requires discipline? Was it in the shared laughter with his sister over a simple game of bones? Or was it in the quiet contentment of the family meal, the feeling of being safe, of being loved, of belonging? He realizes that the secret is not one single thing. It is not a treasure to be found at a single spot on the map. The secret is all of it. It is the thread that runs through every moment. It is the simple, profound truth of being alive. It is the awareness of the cold floor, the warmth of the sun, the taste of food, the feeling of connection to other people, to history, to the gods. The secret is not something to be learned from a teacher or a book. It is something to be felt, to be experienced. It is found not by looking for it, but by simply living, by being present in each moment as it unfolds. The day of a Roman schoolboy is a life in miniature. It has its own dawn and its own dusk. It has its moments of work and its moments of rest. It has its challenges and its comforts, and it is filled, from beginning to end, with opportunities to feel the quiet magic of existence. Lucius does not think these thoughts in such clear words. He is just a boy. But he feels them. He feels the deep, simple rightness of his life. He feels gratitude for the day that has passed. He feels a quiet hope for the day that is to come. He knows that tomorrow he will wake up in the cold and the dark, and he will do it all again. And that is a good thing. A sound from outside his window pulls him from his thoughts. It is the sound of the city watchman, walking his beat, calling out the hour and the message that all is well. The sound is distant, reassuring. It is a reminder that even as he sleeps, the city is being guarded. The world is being kept in order. He can rest without fear. His thoughts begin to dissolve. The images in his mind grow soft and lose their edges. His breathing deepens, becomes slow and regular. The boundary between his small self and the great, quiet darkness of the room begins to blur. He is no longer Lucius, the schoolboy. He is just a consciousness, a small, warm spark, drifting on a vast, peaceful sea. He is sinking down, down, down into the deep, healing waters of sleep. The day is over. The journey is complete. The secret has been found, not in a single revelation, but in the gentle unfolding of a simple, ordinary life. And now, there is only rest. There is only silence. There is only the profound and peaceful dark. Good night, and have a sweet dream.